So that shiny new game just came out, inZOI, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Well, let's take a look at the game first impressions. Keep in mind this is not a full review, this is a quick look at the game. Everything I'll be talking about happened within 5 hours of starting the game, so I'll show some footage of the game while describing it and giving a few thoughts on it. I played the game for 4 hours, and the other hour I spent creating a couple characters, as well as signing up for something called Canvas, which is a website that is tied into the game itself. It looks like people have custom made characters, faces, houses, clothing, and more all on there, and you can use those or you can create your own. Also, in order to use that, you'll need a crafting ID and a Canvas account. I signed up to all of that and I looked through it all, and it seems pretty cool and pretty in-depth, but I haven't used it or messed with it since I was looking at it. The character customization has some pretty good customization too. I spent most of my time customizing my character, and then you're given an option to create a family, up to 8 of them. I just made a default wife for my character. I didn't want to spend forever creating each member one by one. After characters, you can choose a map, and it shows 3, but only 2 are currently unlocked, the beach one and the city one, and I chose the city one. Before I get into the game, I had all settings maxed out at 4K, but the graphics just didn't look that good at all for most of the time that I played. Eventually, I went back into the settings and I reapplied everything, as well as changing my screen type to borderless, and that seemed to have fixed my issue. Immediately, it looked so much better. So for a lot of these clips, it may not look the best, but you'll see some better looking graphics towards the end. Now, when you get into the game, the map isn't that big, really. You have 4 locations to make a house, and you can either move into a pre-built house or make one yourself. The customization for the houses are pretty in-depth as well, so much so that, again, I didn't want to spend too much time on it. I did look through some of the items, and I found that you can even upload an image to create a custom 3D model, so all of the customization seems pretty good. I myself just chose a pre-built house and just plopped it right down. A couple cool things about this game is that you can manually control your characters. For example, I can walk around both my characters myself, and also there's a setting that you can turn on to manually drive as well, but the driving is super basic. After I tried it once, I crashed on purpose, and there's no damage or anything, but when you crash into another car, the driver will get out and be angry. After that, I just let my character auto drive. Speaking of settings, there's something called Smart ZOI. When this is enabled, your characters will be very autonomous and do their own thing. I've been reading online that some people can't enable that feature for some reason. Maybe that'll be fixed for them, I don't know, but it did work for me. And there is another autonomy setting that you can turn on, but it's not as in-depth or autonomous as the Smart ZOI one. I left Smart ZOI on the entire time that I played, and my characters would just do things on their own without me telling them to. They'd read books, sleep, eat food, go out to different locations, and just talk to random people. Now, even though you can customize your characters and family and your house quite a lot, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot to do actually in the game, other than completely focus on your characters and just build them up. So that's exactly what I did. Your characters have phones, and I used the phone to get a job as a fireman. I only did it for a single day before I resigned though. I was kind of bored. What I did was go to the fire station, change into a uniform, and then I just did tasks. It was boring because I just watched my character sit there, so I resigned. There was other jobs that you could do, as well as university, but I didn't try those. Everything in the game costs money, so jobs are important it seems like, but I also accidentally gave my characters a lot of money, so I didn't need a job. There's actually a button that you could press to give yourself more money, and I pressed it thinking another menu would come up, similar to how Canvas brings up its own screen, but it didn't do that, it just straight up gave me money. Oops. Things you can buy include clothing, house items, food, and vehicles. And once, in a park, I used a claw machine like 8 times in a row, and I didn't get a single plushie. I'm upset. Those are rigged. There's a couple things in the game I briefly looked at but didn't fully understand. Number 1 is the karma system. There's a screen for that, and it seems to affect AIs out in the world, but I don't really know what that is for. The karma goes up and down, and it seemed to be going down for me. Number 2 is the schedules. My characters automatically had their own schedules, and I didn't get why they did. Was it because I had Smart ZOI on, or do your characters just get them automatically? I'm unsure, but they followed their schedules that they had preset. You can customize their schedules though. When you look at the map, there's different places that you can go to, and you can either drive there automatically, drive manually, or just walk there. The locations include things like a store, a clothing shop, police station, and a park. I went to the store and I ate some chips because my character was starving. I also used the phone to have food delivered to my house. It actually took me a while to find the packages because they just piled up on the side of the house on the sidewalk, which was odd, and I did not realize that they were there. Your characters do have needs that you need to take care of too. Sleep, hunger, hygiene, and a few others. I didn't really know what to do in this game as I'm not the target audience. I don't play The Sims or similar games like that, so I just focused on relationships to see what I could do. First, I got my in-game wife pregnant, and she was pregnant for so long. Way longer than I thought it would take in a game. Secondly, I used my male character and just used the affection and romance options on like 4 different females. Once I invited one of them into my house, and my in-game wife was angry and slapped my character. It even dropped our relationship from loving to close, but the relationships aren't that hard to build back up. Again, just use the affection and romance options, and it was back to loving in no time. At one point, I had my male character out of the house for several days, and when I came back, the wife was estranged from my male character, which is the furthest in the negative that it could go, but I did bring it back into loving. I went on some dates with some characters, and a couple of them afterwards would send me a gift to the house, like a bouquet of flowers and a vase from someone else. One thing I didn't realize until later is that the house will get dirty. I had to enter the build mode to buy a mop and vacuum so that my characters could clean. Also, I was wondering why my character's shirt looked dirty, and as it turns out, you can do laundry to clean your clothes too. I just didn't find the washer until later. Performance-wise, it was fine. Some stuttering here and there, but not too bad overall. No crashes or anything major. I think if you're into this sim style of game, then you'll also like this one. Even though it seems a bit limited to me right now, it does have pretty good depth with what is there. Again, I'm not someone who plays these sorts of games, so it's really up to you if you think the game is worth it or not. I myself think it's pretty neat, especially that you can manually control your characters. That's not something I expected in a game like this. I would say that I like the game overall, though that's my personal opinion. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you on the next one.